Hello, true art believers. This is Matt Pierson, and you are on Painting with Pierson. Really, it's kind of early in the morning. Um, so today, what I'm going to do, or what I'm going to talk about, is one of the processes that I'm doing at the moment. Is I am going to sand down some of this area. Um, and make it a little bit more scuffy, tooth it up a little bit, because um, some people don't tell you this, but when you paint with on wood panel, sometimes the paint doesn't stick, and it's not just because it's not just chemical. Sometimes there's a chemical reaction happening. There might be humidity. You might have misjudged your lean over fat ratio. Maybe using a different medium, and the previous medium is not liking the medium on top of it. And another thing is a physical thing, which is you might not have enough tooth or on your surface for the paint to hold up on. So you need a micro scaffolding on your surface sometimes. And so what I'm doing today is rather simple. Is I want to sand down these edges a little bit, and then I'm going to remove some of this stuff here, and I'm just sanding down. I got to redo this anyways, because I had some issues with paint being pulled off, or not being on the surface strong enough. Because when I sanded this down, this is actually a piece done on an older painting. I'm learning a lot with this. Maybe when I paint, I don't want to paint on older paintings, because sometimes I'll sand them down, and I'll sand them down so smooth that it's hard for thicker bodied paints to stay on. Now, if you're a very detail-oriented painter, where you're painting with light glazes, I don't know. I think the reason why that works a little bit better on wood maybe is because it's able to get inside those micro pores inside the wood panel, and that might be the reason why it holds better on those type of paintings. But when you work with thicker paints, I think canvas probably just works better, because it's got that tooth on it, and you just can't beat that tooth. What that tooth does is acts as like a mild bonder to the paint, like a strong bond, and it allows for the paint to kind of just stick on there. And I think also, to some extent, there's a micro, on a micro level, there's some fiber still kind of curling out. So probably maybe the paint and the canvas itself acts kind of like a Velcro on the paint. So it's very hard to see. I had a little bit of flake off there. It's very hard for it to fall off. Now, excuse me, I had some coffee. So now what I'm doing here is sanding it down and making a new micro scaffolding for my painting. Some of this is okay. Some of this I actually don't mind. It's just kind of messy. And since this whole area that I'm working on is actually kind of very impasto, very thick paint, very gestural, I can kind of get away with all this kind of wear and tear on the painting. And that's one thing that I like about wood panels. You can really beat it up. You can really beat the paint, the surface up, and not worry about really do anything bad to it. Just getting some of the particles off. So that's what I kind of like about it. What I'm trying to avoid though is I'm trying to avoid getting my sandpaper near the areas that I don't want to touch. And I thought about putting like tape or something. Yeah, see that? I don't need that. That shouldn't happen. I've been experimenting with oil-based enamels, or at least I think they're oil-based on these paintings, and they're very flippant. It's you take a gamble when you use them. So I don't know how much I need to sand this, to be honest with you, because I don't sand my paintings that often. I very rarely sand them down. I'll sand them if I need to, if I want to get a new surface. If I'm going to make a new painting and I need more of a flat surface and I have a very a lot of paint on there and I need it to be not there, then I will sand it down, but for the most part I just paint on top of it, leave it as is. I'm not really a fan of sanding paintings down. It's just, to me, it's just like another step that I gotta do, and sometimes I'll avoid it at all costs, but I just want to feel that it's necessary to clear out this area so that I can work on it and make it go further. I had some very toothy sandpaper somewhere, but I can't find it. I was using it earlier yesterday. Had some really good toothy sandpaper. Ah, there you are. That's what we need. Now I think I'm at the point where so I've sanded smooth enough that I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a really toothy grit sandpaper. Not yet, but I'm going to use it in a brief moment, and I'm going to see that? Look at that. That's unacceptable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what happens here if I do this. Man, look at that. No one wants to see that happen. So yeah, this is what I'm dealing with. Painter's nightmare. It's just not sticking, and it's not water based. So I'm wondering what it is. I think it might be. I think it's just really fragile paint sometimes. Whoa! Look at that. That's gonna be a pain. Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to see many people do this to the paintings. Nope. Taking a razor blade to it, shaving things off. Very rarely do you see artists do this to their paintings. But you know what? You got to destroy some parts to grow. Yeah, you really do gotta destroy some parts. And I think it's gonna be for the better, because once you get rid of this bad stuff here, the stuff is like just not sticking. It's because right here it's so smooth. There's no tooth to it. And it just gives no chance for the paint to kind of stay. So I don't think it's a chemical thing. I really think it's a physical thing on my behalf.
no one ever thinks about this, you know. And it's a tough pill to swallow. No one wants to deal with this. This is horrible, you know. I'm trying to be positive, you know. And that's time. So, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to do some rehab on this painting for another 80 minutes and then see where it's at. Hopefully I get somewhere. And by the time I'm done, I'll have a new, nicely done little area cleaned up and everything. Other than that, thanks for stopping by. You can follow me at Matt Pierson Art on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. All of them are the same handles. You can also see more of my work at www.mattpearsonart.com. Thanks again. Appreciate the support.